I'm Filip, and I'm one of the co-founders of Tally. I'm the technical co-founder, so this is going to be the story of a developer building startups for 10 plus years. You know, compared to Georgia, she did it a lot better than me. You know, she did it in 24 hours. I think it took me 5 years to have my first app that had 50,000 unique users, and probably 10 plus years to have like an app that went, viral, sort of. So this is going to be a story of me getting things wrong, like 10 years of doing the wrong things, and I'll focus on the lessons I learned, and hopefully there's something for you there as well that can be useful. Scroll back 20 years back in 2005. I don't know if a lot of you know or remember the $1 Million homepage, but this for me was the aha moment of like, you can make money online. Like, it was my mother from all people that came to me with the newspaper. She read an article in the newspaper. I was like, hey, there's a student. I think it was from Denmark. I'm not 100% sure anymore, but he made this like 1,000 on 1,000 pixels website, and he was selling 1 pixel for $1. And if he would sell out everything, he would make $1 million. Turns out he did. And so like the article was spread. I went online, read everything I could about it. I was just so inspired that something so simple can make $1 million, right? I was like, I need to do that. Like, how can I do that? How can I build for the internet? Scroll back to 2010. So I went to university. I'm originally from Bulgaria, so I graduated in Bulgaria, computer science. Then I got a job at Netlock. It was a Belgian company that offered me a job. They were building the European Facebook at the time. That sounded amazing to me, so I was like, all right, I'm coming to Belgium. I packed my bags and I moved. And I spent there 3 years, which were really impactful for me, because it was like everything I've dreamed of. It was like, the American startup culture that we like all read about. It was like long hours, like hustle, ship fast, iterate even faster, like learn from users. We had millions of users. I was not the founder, and I joined the company. So like, but it was like very, very transformative experience for me. Like, I saw how it's done, and I immediately wanted to do that myself. After 3 years, I've saved a little bit of money, and I was like, I feel ready to start my first startup of my own. Obviously, I didn't save a lot of money for 3 years, but I was like, okay, I think that I can live for a year without a salary, like really cheap, eat ramen noodles and all that, and try to build my first startup. I was living at Belgium at the time, and it was expensive. So I was like, I'm going to move to Morocco because it's going to be cheaper. I'm going to extend my runway. So I moved to Morocco for 3 months, and I started building Strudo. Strudo was a photo sharing app. I'm not going to go really into details, but it was something like Google Photos today. Google Photos didn't exist back then. So I was like, yeah. There was the iOS sharing albums, but that didn't exist on Android. I thought like I could build an app that is cross-platform and take it from there. Problem was, I did not know anything about mobile development. I was like a web developer by trade. So this meant that I had to learn how to do Objective-C and Java for Android development. So it took me about 3 months to build the iOS app and about 3 months to build the Android app. I was like 6 months in. I had, basically MVP, 0 users, 0 revenue, and like 6 months in to like try to make it. So definitely the mistake there was that instead of taking 24 hours to build an app, it took me 6 months. And it's something that like, I would not do obviously today. But it learned me a lot about bootstrapping and being frugal and trying to make things with not having a lot. Another mistake there for me was that at the time I was a developer. I did not know anything about marketing, or anything else. I could just build, and I was like thinking, I'm gonna build it, and people will come, right? Like build it and they'll come, like the whole this kind of shtick. No one came. I started sharing it with friends. Eventually, like people started picking it up, but no one was willing to pay for it. So I think it was 9 months in. I had some users. People seemed to like it, but zero revenue. And towards the end of the year, like I figured that I could sell it to like events who take a lot of people take a lot of pictures, and the events would then pay for it, like weddings and stuff like that. But the revenue was so little, I could not even live on ramen noodles anymore. So I had to stop. So that was first startup over. So I came back, I took a job again, but I always had like the urge to build something. And like one of those weekends, I was annoyed that it took me 6 months to build that previous app. And I was like, God damn it, I want to build something like in a weekend that already gives value to the people. And that's how, TallyPulse was born. For people that are familiar with Tally, you will recognize the name. I used it before, before Tallyforms. So that was in 2014, and I've been using a lot of polls and doing a lot of polls around that time. And I joined another startup. We used it internally. So I was like, I would like to build something around that. And it's like, how can I build something super simple? It was very similar to how Tallyforms works today, if people are familiar with it. But you ended up on a blank page, which was like a text document, and you would start writing and create your poll. And in the background, the link will be created, and you can immediately share it with people. It was just a weekend project, so I was like, I'm gonna post on a product hunt. What's the worst that can happen? Turned out people loved it, so it became the product of the day. Even like the founder of Product Hunt used it and created this this poll that you can see there. It even looks a little bit like Tallyforms for the people that are familiar with it. So actually, people loved what I built, and it was like just done in 2 days. Then I got even a job offer from the co-founder of Typeform at the time. He was like, "Hey, I love what you built. How do you feel like about coming to Barcelona?" But I just took a job at the time, so I had to say no, even though it sounded very interesting. People wanted to embed it in their products, but I had no plan. I had no business model. I didn't know anything about product-led growth at the time. I didn't know anything about powered by batch virality dynamics. So it kind of like slowly died out. People used it, but I had no plan with it. I was, again, not the marketeer. So that sort of failed. Then we scroll to 2017. So again, I worked about 3 years at another startup, saved a little bit of money. This time I was not like, I'm gonna go and build a startup, but I was like, I'm gonna like start investing, right? I'm gonna like do a little bit of stock investing, a little bit of crypto. Started getting into it. For people that are familiar with crypto, in 2017, it was a mess. There were so many different crypto coins, and it was not only Bitcoin and not only Ethereum, but shitloads of more others. There was a lot of exchanges. It was horrendous to track, or very difficult to track your investments. There were some apps, but they were all like crypto ugly. They were unusable. So with few friends from that startup, we were like, we could do better. We could build an app that it's actually easy to use and beautiful. And this is how Delta was born. So Delta was a crypto portfolio tracker app. And again, this time we built it in about 6 weeks. I didn't have to do Objective-C and Android anymore. There was React Native, which was popular at the time. It was more in what I was good at, so I could build something fast. The timing was right. People were coming into the crypto space. We started sharing it in the beginning, like subreddits and Telegram communities, and talk to people, show what we've built. And people liked it. People really started picking it up. Like, I think it was about in 6 weeks, we posted on a product hunt. It was well received. This time we had a business model compared to everything else that I did before. This time from the beginning, we were like, okay, there's these other apps that are using the freemium model. It's basically free, but you have some features that are behind the paywall. We copied the same concept. And I think by October, we had the Delta Pro, which was our business model. And by the end of the year, so we started that around the summer, and by the end of the year, we've made like $500,000 of revenue. Like the product was booming. Like, you know, we were to the moon, right? We were super happy with how everything was going. The problem was that we were too many co-founders, right? So while before I was just the sole founder that had like only one skill and not enough to like build an actual business. Now we're at 6, we had a lot of skills, but the moment there was like a little bit of like, what are we gonna do here, and disagreement, everything started breaking. So soon after, I think like a year in, the cracks started showing. We could not agree on what to do next. Crypto was going down at the time, which didn't help, right? Like you're working in an environment that is not friendly to your startup. So we decided to sell the company. Unfortunately, you know, the product was loved, but we felt like we cannot, as a group of co-founders, continue forward. You know, the classic too many chefs in the kitchen scenario. So we sold the company. And that for me was a lesson learned, right? 6, way too many. Something I forgot to mention, but in 2017, around the time actually I started Delta, at the time also I met Marie, who is like also my co-founder of Tally and also Hotspot, but also partner in life. And we've always talked about ideas and projects and what we want to do together. And from one of those talks, Hotspot was born. So it was like a platform to connect travel influencers with hotels. You'll think like, why would you build that? You know, and that would be a fair question, because there was totally not a product, you know, a founder product fit in there. Like we were not a travel influencers, we were not hotels. We had nothing. We didn't know anything about it. We thought we can do something better. But the good thing we did there was like, we knew that we don't know anything about it, but we were like, okay, we are gonna just create a fake door test, basically a form, a Google form at the time, because we didn't have money to pay Typeform. That would be like, hey, we're building this platform. It was presented as if the platform already exists, you know, sign up here to use it. And we send it to hotels and to travel influencers. And we're like, if we have 50 hotels, 50 travel influencers, we're going to start building it. So this time we were like, okay, we did not spend months or weeks or whatever, years building it. We were like, we're going to actually start building if there's interest. We did something good there. And there was interest. So that was great. And we started just repeating the same thing. We built something, an MVP. I think it took like a month or 2 months or something like that. And we started doing cold outreach to hotels. So we'll send emails to hotels, and we will send cold Instagram DMs to the influencers, and that worked. Money started coming in. You know, nothing big, but like I think we're around like 1K MRR, and then we thought like, I've already sold Delta, and I had all the time in the world at the time, so I was working on it full time. But Marie had a job at the time, and around that time when we're like at 1K, we're like, okay, Maria's gonna quit her job and we're gonna start working on it together full time. We've again given ourselves a year to build, you know, a living out of it. And again, we're like, okay, we cannot stay in Belgium because it's gonna be way too expensive. So we decided to move to Bali because it's going to be cheaper, and actually our target audience was there, right? There's shitloads of travel influencers there, and there's shitloads of hotels. So we wanted to do that. We left. We made it to Bangkok, which was a pit stop, and then like, you know, people when Marie left were like, you know, what's the worst that can happen? And that was in January 2020. Like, no one had like a global pandemic on their bingo cards at the time. So we were in Bangkok. global pandemic, everything's locked down. We never made it to Bali. But not only that, but our 1K MRR basically disappeared in weeks because hotels closed. They canceled their subscriptions, obviously. We were like, fuck, we are, now 3 months in, we have nothing. There's product that no one is using. We have almost zero revenue. And, there were some people that forgot to cancel their subscription, but that's about it. So yeah, we thought for a while, like, okay, how long could this last? But after I think 3 extra months, we're like, oh my God, so this is not going anywhere. We need to pivot. So I started doing these Friday sessions and like brainstorming of what can we do, right? We have still 6 months left and have nothing to show for. And from those talks, we kept on coming back with forms. Forms is something we've used. Forms is something that like we were not happy with. And it felt like they were either good and expensive or free, cheap, and shitty. And we thought like, can we build something that is free, cheap, with good, right? And that's how TallyForms was born. And this time we took a lot of learnings from our previous endeavors and tried to apply it here. I think the number one thing was product founder fit, right? We were building the product for ourselves. We knew exactly what we needed to build. We had the skills that we needed. I'm a builder, I'm a developer, Marie is marketeer. We had everything we needed as the 2 co-founders to build and kickstart the project. We kept it simple. And that was the hard part as well, because as a builder, the thing that you always, or at least I think, is like, it needs to have like all these crazy features. And we thought like just forms, no one is gonna like use that. We need to have like this database is around it, more something like Airtable. Otherwise, what are we bringing to the market? But we're like, it's gonna take way too long to build. Let's just stick to forms. In 6 weeks, I think we had our first MVP and we started showing it to people. And now we're 5 years in. And we still don't have database that we wanted to build back then. But the product actually has been used now by 700,000 people, and recently hit 2 million ARR. So I think here definitely ship early, show it to people, talk to people obsessively, iterate, rinse and repeat. Do things that don't scale. We did cold outreach here as well, like something we learned from Hotspot. And, keep it simple. This is a bit of a recap of everything I talked about. Thank you.